Again, this is analog horror, so it's going to be a little bit retro. The following tape and many others were recovered by FBI intern Valerie Bardot and given to us. Valerie Bardot leaving without a trace. She suddenly went missing at the end of her internship in Lancaster, California. Taken is what it said at the bottom. Foul play is suspected. Okay. So long as Valerie is missing, these tapes will continue to be leaked. We gave you a chance, and this will be your last. So that's kind of the vibe of analog horror. Again, it's supposed to be like something that looks informational. Conveyed through this debrief and training pertains to prior investigation. It's imperative the agent refrain from viewing this material unless they possess the appropriate clearance and are under direct supervision and structure. Any failure to comply with this directive will result in prosecution to the fullest extent. Under the Espionage Act of 1917, you have been warned. But yeah, so analog horror takes these kind of like old school, like instructional stuff, kind of twists it a bit. Tape purpose debrief 08/25/1988, clearance TS, just top secret, missing persons, entity present, status resolved. Bryan State Park, previously inhabited by both Dakota and Ojibwe tribes. This is a home to year-round camper and hikers. The park, along with the state parks up north, has experimented in an increase in animal-like attacks. The cause is unknown until the found footage. Missing persons Bradley Kaufman. Okay, couldn't read all of that. Subject Brady Kaufman. Picture spelled wrong. Kaufman, 59-year-old male, visited the park. During visit was unusual. He minimally recorded various times. Medical records revealed no history of mental health concerns. By the way, his picture is spelled wrong. Subsequently, August 26th was reported missing, discovered on 30th, and recovered footage from his recording device will now be presented chronological order accompanied by annotations. Okay. but yeah. So this one, I think, has more of an actual, like, game to it. The other ones will be mostly kind of that tape interface. Is there a way to turn off that? No. Really wish there was a way to turn off this effect. It's very strong. Subject can initiate recording. The reason... Okay, I can't. Okay. Fire's still going. Okay, there's some, like, weird floatiness to the... Okay. Can't do anything with the car. Subject would occasionally zoom with right... Okay. It's a stove. The lantern... Oh, look, we've got fireflies. Okay, I guess we're gonna go on a... Can't run or anything. Can't go that way. Can we go this way? There's something out here. What's that over there? Is that just another campsite? I guess so. Okay, maybe we go this way? Subject turned right and went to the bathroom to shower. How would I turn left and not do what you told me to? Okay, we had an invisible wall. Fine. Be that way. Okay, so we're looking for a shower. We cannot run, as far as I can tell. We can crouch, which is interesting. But yeah, analog horror tends to also kind of bounce into the found footage genre. So there's a lot of analog horror that's like this, where you're playing through some VHSs, or at least watching through some VHSs. Okay, we can't go to that campsite. VHS tracking actually kind of takes with it. Well, that's intended to be part of the vibe. Again, analog horror, that's kind of what they're selling you, is that you're watching some sort of found footage, usually on a VHS. And again, I think this is the only one that has this kind of movement. A lot of the other ones will just be like, more about those like instructional type videos. Jesus, how far away is this showers? Okay. You're gonna get sweaty just getting back to camp. Okay. Oh, something's going on over here. Someone in here? I would guess so. Subject stops filming and then takes a shower. It's estimated 10 minutes elapse before the subject films again. Subject is something to the campsite. That's a little too fast, but I'm guessing returns to the campsite is what it's saying. This will probably have some jump scares in it. The graphics, the fisheye effect, yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely supposed to evoke some very found footage type of thing. Guessing we can't go this way? No, okay. All the way back it is. There was definitely something back there. Oh no, it's the grass, okay. The grass was like leaning across the tree there. So, a lot of things that analog horror also leans into is things hiding in plain sight. So there's a lot of like, this looks normal, but it's not normal, you know. If you looked at there's a very popular series on YouTube called the Mandela Catalog, and that actually has a lot of this found footage, this analog horror stuff like that. I do recommend it. It is a very good series. It does have some like religious iconography, so if you're not okay with something seeming a bit sacrilegious, then obviously don't watch it. I know there's some people that when religion is interacted with in media, especially horror media, it can make them feel very uncomfortable. Oh, hi. Who are you? Upon return to the campsite, an unknown figure standing near the subject camp. Neither the campground records nor witness recall a white male of this profile. Why is this person was here or who they are still remains unknown and is not being actively pursued. So this is what I was talking about. So largest jump of the time happens at this point with an estimate of 1 to 2 hour times elapsed. The recording resumes with the subject 2 miles into the Hardwood Hills loop. Why the subject started the hike is not relevant to the Bureau's involvement. That's what I was talking about. So like they're like, we don't know who that is. That person definitely should not have been there. You know, that's kind of the vibe. But yeah, definitely check out if you like horror stuff and you've not really experienced analog horror. I believe Mandela Catalog's pretty good at giving you like a little bit of a lot of stuff, especially if you like found footage stuff early on. It's really well acted as well, in my opinion. But there's a lot of analog horror out there now, and I really like it. Like I said, I like when things take something mundane and basically make it like, oh yeah, this is normal, wink, you know. You know, you're always suspicious. You're looking around every corner, not knowing when something's gonna like change around you, and not necessarily like jump scares, but like literally like, that's not how a car works, or that's not a table, you know. So some analog horror, I will say, gets a little sciencey and sci-fi-ish, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do still like the vibes of analog horror in those cases. But, and this is not a new concept. This is a concept that's been around. I think just the term analog horror got coined or recoined more recently, like within the past 5 years or so. So a lot more people are like, oh, okay, that's what you call this kind of, you know, horror. But that? Oh, it's just like a root. We're supposed to be looking at like these. It's a deer. They did say that the animals were getting aggressive, so I'm gonna guess we're probably gonna see that deer again, but it's gonna try to murder us. One big thing with analog horror that seems to be more and more consistent as I've seen it, a lot of them deal with this idea of alternates or doppelgangers. Basically, they're people that look exactly like someone else, but they're obviously not that person. Which that kind of thing has gone back literally before media even existed, like digital or video media. There's old mythologies about changelings. If you know anything about Irish myth, you know about the like 9-day rule, which is where if someone goes missing and then they show back up and they seem like they're not themselves, they've probably been replaced by a changeling, but you have like basically 9 days to both figure it out and to take the changeling back to the woods to trade them for the real person, otherwise you lose them forever. But unfortunately those stories were also used as a way to create power over people. Because there's a story of a husband who, his wife was becoming very independent, running her own business. And this was back in, like, I think the 1800s, maybe even earlier than that. She was basically running her own, like, food business. She was very, like, headstrong. And he believed that she had been replaced by a changeling and spent most of the days essentially torturing her to see if she was a changeling, and it eventually ends up killing her. Because I think he fills her belly with coals, which is one of the true ways to find a changeling. Because they're made of wood. So, you know, they have an aversion to fire, which I think everybody has an aversion to fire, to be honest. I don't think that's abnormal. But I believe that's how that story finishes. And I think there's actually an Irish rhyme about it. The deceased deer was killed by entity. Okay, so we've just been revealed that it is the entity that killed the deer. See, and this is what I was talking about. So, never mind. Is subject encountered deceased deer attacked by entity. The film abruptly ends after subject detects entity in facility. Misandry +2. Yeah. More misogyny, but subject exhibits distress and flees off the trail. Entity pursues subject and can be approximately heard, or can be heard in the proximity. Resumes filming approximately 4 minutes after the pause. Subject is audible for the first time, displaying emotions of fear. So what I was going to say is, like, that deer that we just saw, the one that was jumping, is probably the entity, and that deer we found is the thing it killed. Oh, your own misandry. Okay. But yeah, so legends of, like, people being replaced by doppelgangers and stuff is nothing new to history at all. But the analog horror really leans into the, oh, now we can run, the doppelgangers. Oh, so that's a lot of deer, and I'm guessing that's not none of that is coming from actual deer. But analog horror leans really into those, like, doppelgangers, alternates, whatever the series wants to call them. Which I think is interesting, because, again, it plays on that. I wasn't moving, by the way. Oh. Subject struggles against entity, but gets away. The camera is severely damaged. Subject drops flashlight, then camera creates a shadow backdrop. Yeah, so you can see it kind of looks like a deer, but it's not a deer. Also, that's really loud. Sorry. Subject blood creeps into frame. Distant entities can be occurred, is what it said. And now they're dragging him away, I believe. But yeah, so that's Brady Kaufman's death would occur over the next 5 minutes. Remaining footage has been cut short for viewer discretion. Additional entities can be heard and would later fight over the remains. The footage ends when the camera battery runs out. Subject remains were found scattered. Most flesh was consumed. The little personal items remained intact. The public was told it was an abnormal bear attack. Okay. Tibia found 0.5 miles away. Wow, half a mile away. Yikes. The subject's film was the first footage captured of S0012. Ultimately, subject's footage would provide the Bureau, spelled wrong, proof to extend funding to special operation to contain entities. This marks the first of many successful entity resolution programs. Name Wendigo, S0012. Risk severe, containability 3. Wendigos are creatures originated from Native American tribes of the Great Lakes region, the malevolent supernatural beings, the terror of forest dwellers, and are linked to numerous missing person cases. Tall and emaciated looking Wendigos bear antlers and possess an insatiable appetite for human flesh. According to the recent intelligence, there's been a notable resurgence of the Wendigo, and their geographical distribution has now expanded southward through Minneapolis. In response to the emerging threat, the Bureau has established a joint task force in collaboration with the Canadian CSIS to take immediate decisive action to halt the expansion of the species and eventual eradication. It is imperative to maintain strict operational security and keep the general public uninformed of these operations to prevent any unnecessary panic or interference. And of course, this is called the Lancaster leak, so someone got these videos and they weren't supposed to. There you go. So that's the first game. Like I said, they will. The story doesn't end here. Read the associated R No Sleep story Reddit icon in the menu. I work as a secretary at a small FBI office. The man in the pink poncho almost something. Consider joining the Discord newsletter to know the release of the next game. Lancaster League. Crisis the Call Center, which we'll be playing very, very shortly. Alright, so that is Lancaster League, O'Brien State Park. Great introduction. A lot of. Don't forget to subscribe.